Hello, my name is Ben.
And my name is Josh.
And welcome back to FPL Graduates.
So, a bit of a different episode this week, as you can tell. No guests this week. It's the start of lockdown. It's a bit sad, but we've got an alternative, haven't we?
Hey, from next week anyway, we're gonna have guests online, so we'll be able to video call them or whatever, and hopefully it'll be something sort of normal. We've got a very special guest next week who we featured on their channels before. We're not going to say who it is yet, but it's a very exciting one.
Yeah, big guest next week, so make sure you come up next week. But today's video is going to be similar, less of the quizzing, but more focused on the last game week before the international break.
Okay, Josh, pull up the team. This is what I'm going for next week. The transfers I've made. I made the decision of getting Pulisic last week. I'm transferring him out. And I'm transferring out Jorginho as well because he's now off penalties for good because Werner took the penalties midweek. So I'm taking a big -4 hit this week. But you know what? I don't mind that because the players I'm getting in, I believe, will get me some points this week. Hopefully, please. I'm bringing in Pablo Fornals of West Ham, who are playing Fulham at home. And I think if any team are playing Fulham at home, guaranteed goals, hopefully. And then I've brought in Wilfried Zaha for what looks to be 3 really nice fixtures in a row. He's got Leeds at home, Burnley away and Newcastle at home. So I'm hoping he gets some sort of return. I'm not expecting him to return in all 3 of the games. I'm expecting maybe one big return in one of the weeks, maybe a couple of blanks here and there. But yeah, that's what I'm planning with going for. In my back 3, I'm going to have Alexander-Arnold, who I'm unsure about. But I'm hoping that now that after the City game the fixtures get a bit nicer and we'll start returning. Kyle Walker-Peters at home to Newcastle, solid shout to be honest, and then Justin at home to Wolves. It was a toss-up for me between James Justin and Kilman, who I was going to start. But I've gone with Justin purely based on the fact that he's more likely to get an attacking return. I think that's why I've done it. Goalkeeper has to be McCarthy because Ryan, I don't even know if he's going to start this week. And Captaincy is what I'm going to go for. That's the big call from me. I can't see him blanking 2 weeks in a row. I mean, this week it's going to be a toss-up between Son and Kane, who everyone's going to captain pretty much. So I've gone with him, and that is what my team's looking like at the moment.
Yeah, sounds good. Some interesting transfers, to be fair. You've been slating Zaha. Bit inconsistent, but he's brought him in, so fair play. He has got some nice fixtures. For me, this is my last game week before my wild card, and I've gone big, I've gone brave. So Danny Ings, who I brought in last week, he returned, but he's now out injured, confirmed until the 17th of December, I think. So I took him out for Harry Kane, and I've also taken a -4. We're taking hits this week, baby. I brought in Kurt Zouma, man in form, scored more goals than like Aubameyang and loads of different players this season. He's on free. Brought him in for Trent Alexander-Arnold. No Trent this week. Big call, I know, but it's what I like doing.
Through those funds, you managed to squeeze Kane in, so looking at it, you could be getting more points out of them two than the other two.
So Danny Ings then playing, as long as Trent don't go and score a goal and get 3 assists or something stupid, we should be all good. And also I'm captaining Kane, so it's a well worth risk. Obviously I've got McCarthy in goal, same reasons as Ben. Matt Ryan, unsure. If Matt Ryan was definitely starting, I probably would pick him because Burnley scored the least amount of goals joint with Sheffield United this season. So like I said, Kurt Zouma at home to Sheffield United, as just mentioned, scored the least. Eric Dyer away to West Brom. I could see West Brom scoring, but Eric Dyer has been robbed of a lot of clean sheets this season, which is quite frustrating. Jamal Lewis away to Southampton. No Danny Ings, can they keep a clean sheet? It's up in the air, but I'm all for it. Charlie Taylor of Burnley against Brighton, we'll see what happens. This defence is ropes, I'm not even going to lie to you. That's why we're wildcarding next week. Salah away to City. I was tempted to take him out of my team and get a midfielder in, but I opted for Trent.
That would have been a big goal. That would have been a huge goal.
But I can maybe see him scoring against City. It's a tough one.
I mean, I would have said that taking Salah out, potentially. I know it's controversial.
Probably better.
A good shout because he played 90 minutes midweek, and will he play 90 against City? I don't know.
All depends how the game goes. Those City Liverpool games you can never really predict. I've kept Bruno Fernandes away to Everton for the pure fact that Everton have looked pretty dodgy the past 2 weeks, and I know United haven't looked great either, but if someone's going to help to score or get an assist, it's going to be Bruno Fernandes, so he stays for another week. He's probably coming out in the wild card though. My main man from last week, Jack Grealish, plays away to Arsenal. If he gets a return, I'll be buzzing. I have Son already, so he's my vice-captain. Calvert-Lewin at home to United. If anyone scores for Everton, it's usually him. Harry Kane captain, and that is me finished.
Yeah, so obviously we've said our captain choices, and this week, you know what? Everyone else had a go at the guest captain league. Why not us have a go, eh?
Exactly.
So I'm gonna go for Heung-min Son. He is my captain. I mean, I could have gone Harry Kane, but you picked him first. To be fair, he picked it. He went out. I was like, Josh, who are you captain this week? Kane. Watch out any chance of me picking him, because we can't go for the same.
Yeah, that's a bit boring.
It's a bit boring. So I'm gonna put my Son one up here. Hopefully he doesn't stay there, because he can't back 2 weeks in a row. He surely can't. And Josh, do you want to put Harry Kane on
he
there?
He definitely won't be finishing down. That's certain. Harry Kane, if he doesn't get at least a double-digit return without the captaincy, I'll be surprised. West Brom looked shambles because he had 2 last week to Fulham. If Fulham are scoring 2,
we say a lot of slander at Fulham, but are West Brom really the worst defensive team in the league now? You can make a really good argument.
They're definitely arguing against each other who's the worst. That's for sure.
Yeah, so we are going to try and capitalise on that, and I mean, both of us would take three Son goals, 3 Kane goals, and assists. We'll take that piece.
And when you look at the captaincy this week, I would probably say Danny Ings was my second because they have Newcastle. But other than he's injured now. So
it's either Son or Kane for me, to be honest.
Literally, I wouldn't be happy captaining anyone else this week. I don't think. Maybe a Chelsea asset at a push, but
even then,
Sheffield United's a tough fixture.
Don't get me wrong, they gave City and Liverpool good games, and they didn't create much opportunities through that game.
So, moving on to the next segment of the video, it is our fixture rundown where we talk all the fixtures and who we think is going to win, who we think is going to do well. It is an early deadline this week, so Friday 4:30 is when you need to submit your team by, otherwise you're just going to be rolling.
It's not 4:30.
Is it not?
It's 4 o'clock. Even earlier than we first thought. It is 4 o'clock.
Oh, it's an hour and a half.
Because it's an hour and a half.
Yeah,
of course. That is why. So it's a 4 o'clock one. So lads, I know we're probably uploading it probably on the verge, if not after the game finishes, but put your team in quick. Go. Do you know what I mean?
So yeah, game week 8, we're kicking off. I mean, I doubt people have some of these players. It's Brighton versus Burnley, 5:30. It's on box office. What do you think's going to happen?
Not a lot, to be honest. If I'm being completely truthful, this game doesn't concern me at all. I think I can see a 1-0 either way potentially. Hopefully Brighton win 1-0 because I know you've got a Burnley asset. Yeah. So that's what I'd hope for. But to be honest, I don't see it really impacting anyone's game week too much. I can't see really anyone having any sort of assets apart from maybe Burnley. Goalkeeper, defender, Lamptey.
Lamptey got his first haul over, I think 4 points or 5 points last week, so that was quite good for him. I think he picked up 3 bonus and obviously scored, or maybe 2 bonus, so he played well for the first real time getting FPL points last week, which was good. I think Burnley options, I think only idiots like me would have Burnley defenders right now, so I'm obviously twisting next week. Charlie Taylor's my option. He got an assist so far this season, but clean sheets wise, Burnley haven't looked at it, have they?
No. So on 8 o'clock on the Friday night, we've got another game. So it's 2 games on the Friday night, a bit different this week. We've got Southampton at home to Newcastle, which is an important one for a lot of Southampton defensive assets, really, because we've got McCarthy, we've got Carl Walker-Peters, we've got Vestergaard, who's picked up lots of points this season. We've got Newcastle defensive assets. We've got Callum Wilson up front. So this is going to be a really interesting game to see how Southampton play without Danny Ings, because we have seen them play well without him before.
Yep.
Will they be able to do that again? Because Danny Ings has been instrumental in some of these Southampton games.
He played unreal this season, to be honest. The goal he scored last week, it was absolutely unbelievable. Shay Adams, will he be able to carry that Southampton team, and who is he going to play up front with? They have the likes of Shane Long, Obafemi. There's no real standout who he's going to play up front with. Obviously, James Ward-Prowse just got into probably the form of his career, maybe. So maybe he can help them out. It would be interesting to see how Southampton play for sure.
Yeah, someone needs to. I think Shay Adams does need to step up and be that main man up front now for Southampton. And this is the perfect opportunity for him to really put a statement down and say, look, I'm here, I've settled down now, it's my time to shine.
Yeah.
I think he could potentially do something like that, but I don't know whether there's going to be many goals as well.
On the other hand though, Callum Wilson, he's one of the top scorers this season in the forward category. He's definitely one I'm looking at on my wild card. I think he's only blanked in 2 games so far this season out of 7. So on the lines of Calvert-Lewin and players like that everyone's brought in, he's definitely gone under the radar, so have a look at Callum Wilson. Moving on now to Saturday, the lunchtime kickoff. Speaking of Everton, they're hosting Manchester United at 12:30. What are you thinking about this?
This is an interesting game because I think James Rodriguez could be back in contention to start or even feature off the bench. It's most likely, but whether Everton can get back to winning ways is what they need to do. Over the last couple of game weeks, they haven't looked at how they did at the start of the season. And Man United, well, we all know what's happening at United. They've not had a good midweek and they really need to bounce back, because otherwise, even in the week of bad results Man United have had, Solskjaer's under a lot of pressure right now.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, about 2 weeks ago, it was flying high after beating Newcastle and PSG, etc. But now the tables have turned. It's looking quite droopy over there. Little stat about Everton, I think Richarlison played in his last 7. When Richarlison hasn't played, Everton have failed to win. Huge stat. They're missing a few important players. Obviously, James hasn't been playing. Richarlison's been suspended. This is his last game suspension. Seamus Coleman's been out injured. Who do you think is going to win? Is the big question.
This is a really difficult one to call, but I'm gonna give it to Everton, and I think the reasons behind it is because United have really looked defensively so uncoordinated recently, and I think this could catch up with them this weekend. And I think this international break is coming at a good time for Manchester United. It really is. They're really on the ropes, and they don't look like they can really beat anyone at the moment. And it's completely different to how they looked at the back end of last season, how they even looked against the likes of PSG, and when they played Newcastle in that week spell where they looked incredible.
Yeah.
I think what they need to do is regroup, reevaluate their goals for the season, and come back out fighting ready after the international break, which I think they will.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of inconsistency, probably both sides at the minute, so a good game to watch.
So the 3 o'clock game on the Saturday is Crystal Palace at home to Leeds. Now, this is a relatively interesting game in terms of assets for Leeds. I know quite a lot of people have jumped on this Leeds asset bandwagon. But Palace, they look strong defensively, they're getting their defenders back from injury, and I don't know which way it's going to go, but I can see a Crystal Palace clean sheet.
Crystal Palace is literally like flipping a coin these days. One week they'll turn up, the next they won't. It's so difficult to grasp what they're going to do, really. Leeds, obviously, big defeat to Leicester, but I think Leeds play into the hands of those counter-attacking sides quite easily. They leave themselves so open that it is bound to happen at some stage. Palace, they will sit and probably counter-attack as well. Whether they'll do it obviously as well as Leicester is the main question, whether they'll take their chances. You obviously brought in Zaha. Do you think he'll return this week?
I think he will get a goal. I don't think he'll do much other than that, and I think the goal will either come from something like
penalties.
Milivojevic is out, I think.
Yeah,
so he is on penalties. Look, I can't see too many goals in this game, but I can see Zaha getting one, or at least an attacking return this week. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. It is a bit of a risk bringing him in.
It always is, though.
But he is 30% owned, so at least I know that if he doesn't return, 30% of people aren't getting him.
Yeah, he's a high owned asset. Leeds, on the other hand, I could probably see Bamford getting a jammy goal in this game. Although he scored 6 goals this season, he's definitely not passed the eye test for me. He could have scored 10 realistically. That's the sort of player you're bringing in. But then, is there a better player? Maybe at his price point now, yes. But if you brought him in at 5.5, I could really understand why. Because even though he is very inconsistent, for that cheap price, there's probably no one better, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I'm sticking by my word. I'm not getting Bamford this season because I don't think he is good enough, to be perfectly honest with you. I feel like I'm saying this every week now. I've seen him play in the Championship and I know what he does, so that's why I'm staying away from him.
So the 5:30 kick-off, we're going over to Stamford Bridge. Chelsea are hosting Sheffield United. A lot of people bringing in Chelsea assets for good reasons, but I don't think it'll be as easy as people are thinking.
Yeah, this is a tricky one, and a lot of people are overlooking Sheffield United based on the fact that they're on the 1 point or 2 points that they're on at the moment and haven't won a game. But they've looked really good against the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool, and really did cause Liverpool, especially, a lot of problems. Like Sheffield United could have easily come away from that game with a draw. Don't get it twisted. So this is a tricky one for Chelsea, and they've got to break them down, and they've got to be careful that Sheffield United don't break on the counter attack, and it could be a very tight game.
We already seen Chelsea this season struggle against a similar team in West Brom, a team that just sat back and counter-attacked and made a few mistakes. Chelsea, they did manage to grab themselves back into that game, but on the other hand, I could generally see it being a draw. Like, I know Chelsea played really well and Sheffield United have been really struggling, but Sheffield United is so strong defensively, like they'll be so resolute, and I think Wilder knows that they need to pick up points sooner rather than later. So for me, obviously I have brought in Kurt Zouma. I don't see Sheffield United maybe scoring, but I could easily see it being a 0-0 or something along those lines.
Yeah, so at 8 o'clock we've got West Ham at home to Fulham. Now, I brought in Fornals, so I'm very interested in this game to see if Fornals can potentially return for me, and, well, against Fulham, it's an ideal team to play against.
Yeah, you definitely say that, although I did watch the Fulham game, I can't remember what night, I think Monday night, and they did look quite good. I know they faced West Brom, but like not Mitrovic. I'd say that Ola Aina, the right wing back, I think they reverted to a 5-back, and he played right wing back. He did look really good, scored an absolute weldy. So if they can play similar to how they played there, I think it would be hard for West Ham. I think West Ham are better when the other team's got the ball, more of a counter-attacking team. So it'd be good to see if West Ham can do it against the smaller teams, because that's where they have struggled in recent times, is to break down the smaller teams.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they go about breaking down this Fulham team. There is goals in this game though, I think. Like I can see Fulham scoring a goal or two, and maybe West Ham scoring a goal or two. In the way in which it's going to go, I can see a West Ham win, to be honest. I can't see anything other than a West Ham win, but Fulham will give them a good run for their money.
Yeah, so moving on to Sunday, we start with West Brom at home to Spurs. Probably the game that everyone, if you've got an FPL team, is watching this weekend. Because let us know who you're captaining down in the comments below, if it's someone other than Kane and Son, because I haven't got a clue who I'd go for if I'm honest. They're all very tricky fixtures this week.
Yeah, like you look at all the other fixtures around, I don't see a standout fixture that you say you got to captain someone from there other than this Spurs one, because West Brom, let's face it, I'd say they're probably worse defensively than Fulham this season.
Yeah,
definitely.
They leak goals definitely, but the thing with West Brom, they're better going forward, and that's what allows them to be, I guess, worse defensively, because they've got the likes of Dean Garner, Pereira, they've had Cameron Grant return, Callum Robinson, so they've got goal scorers and people who can do something in the game. It's just they can't keep it tight at the back, and I'm expecting Harry Kane, he's got to do something. He's got, like I said earlier, double-digit haul without the captaincy would do lovely. He came off at half-time in Europa League, so obviously they had that this week.
Son played half an hour as well.
Exactly, so they're pretty well rested considering they have the midweek game. I think if they don't return, I'll just be so sad.
Yeah, both of them have to return really this week.
100%.
And that's why I've gone different with Son. Like maybe if I'm looking at it, Kane would be the better captain option, but we're doing it for the content, alright? We're doing it for the content.
Differential one, that's for sure.
At 2 o'clock is a cracker of a game, it's fair to say, on the Sunday afternoon. Leicester against Wolves. Now, I have no idea how this is going to go, how this is going to even play out, because these two teams, it could be a tactical masterclass from one of the managers. Who knows which manager that's going to be, though? Yeah,
it's very interesting. Obviously, Wolves don't score a lot of goals, but they don't concede a lot either. As well as Leicester, they played unbelievable in some games this season, but they've looked absolutely terrible in others. It's really interesting to see. Vardy, a lot of people looking at him after that brace he scored midweek and got an assist.
Yeah.
Would you bring in Jamie Vardy if you could?
Oh, I don't know, not for this game. I wouldn't bring him in.
Okay.
His fixtures coming up, they look alright. They don't look too bad at all. So I think if Vardy played and looked good in this Wolves game, I'd definitely consider him, especially if you're wildcarding over this international break.
For me personally, I won't be having Harry Kane in my wild card. I know that's a big statement, but they face Man City, Chelsea, Leicester. They go on a terrible run of games, Spurs, and I don't see Harry Kane. He might return the odd goal, but I don't think he'll warrant 11 million. Whereas Jamie Vardy and Leicester, they go on a lovely run of fixtures, and it's quite an easy swap between the two. It's only $1 million difference, Vardy and Kane. So I'll be bringing in Vardy personally after this Wolves game, because the guy, no matter what happens, if anyone scores for Leicester, it's usually him. And that, I think it's Under, the Turkish player. Both of them, they've assisted and scored twice already this season when Under's come on. So that's quite interesting to see at late game.
Yeah, well, he's come on. He's made an impact. I don't know whether he'll start soon. Who knows? But he is a good impact player to have off the bench and complements Vardy quite well.
Yeah, definitely. So moving on to the biggest game of the weekend, without a shadow of a doubt, Sunday. You just need to park yourself in the sofa and stay there from 12 till 10. It's an absolute cracking day of football. It's Manchester City versus Liverpool. FPL wise, it's not the best game, but sometimes you just got to enjoy the spectacle.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a tactical battle, and we've seen in the past these City-Liverpool games, there doesn't tend to be loads and loads of goals in these games, but the tactical masterclass from one of these managers is going to happen, and wow, I'm really looking forward to watching the game. In terms of FPL, I'm kind of a bit scared because I have a City asset and 2 Liverpool assets, so I'm kind of hoping for maybe a bit of a goal fest with Trent doing some bits and Mahrez, but yeah, I'm really not sure how this one's going to play out, and it could define how the title race is going to go as well.
Yeah, definitely. For me, it's going to be a good insight for my wild card. I think it gives me. I've been looking at Cancelo specifically, as he's cheaper than Walker, and I think he created 6 chances in the first half against Sheffield United. So it goes to show how far he's getting up the field. He's playing left back, he can play right back, and Mendy's out injured currently, so there's no real risk of rotation. So he's the one to stand out for me, I'll be looking at. Then you have the obvious likes of Salah, De Bruyne. A lot of people going out without De Bruyne right now, and I feel like City's run of fixtures coming up after this Liverpool game, you need to have City somewhere in your team.
Yeah, I think the way you look at their run, it's absolutely lovely after this Liverpool game. It's definitely something you've got to look at. Liverpool's run as well looks quite nice after the City game, so having Liverpool and City assets could be coming back the same as what it was last season.
Yeah, it's one to watch for Trent as well, because the guy is yet to get an attack and return, I believe, this season, and for 7.3 I think he's at now. That's a lot of money to be spending on someone who's not getting clean sheets or attacking returns.
Yeah, well, he got an assist midweek, so let's just hope he can.
Yeah, he's been playing well in the Champions League, just not in the Premier League, Trent. Come on.
So the final game of the weekend is Arsenal at home to Aston Villa. Now, I don't see many people having many Arsenal assets, but in terms of Villa assets, it could be quite an interesting one because quite a lot of people still have Villa defensive assets.
Yeah, I've got Conser. I think he's on my bench this week, but the guy's got 1 point in the last 2 weeks in bringing him in. Probably my worst transfer so far this season. Probably not going to be in my wild card. Arsenal assets though, I've seen Hector Bellerin's risen in price to 5.1 million. He's someone I was looking at in my wild card as he's getting attacking returns, and Arsenal this season have looked solid defensively since bringing in the likes of Gabriel.
Yeah. Obviously in Villa midfield we've got Jack Grealish. Obviously he's really highly owned. I don't know what he's at now, he must be 30%.
I think it's like 40%.
Yeah, a lot of people do own Jack Grealish. He's one of the highest point scorers this season. And I can see it. I don't really know if he's going to get returned this week.
It's a tough one to call because Arsenal are a different team to what they were last season, and Aston Villa the same, I guess.
It just depends what Arsenal team turns up in this game, because we've seen 2 different Arsenal teams this season. We've seen one that's defensively resilient and really secure, and we've seen the ones that tend to leak goals. So it depends which one turns up. It depends on whether Grealish gets a return.
Definitely. So moving on to the final segment of our FPL Fridays this week, we're going to differential of the week. So I'll let Ben kick it off. Who are you going for this week?
Yeah, I'm kicking it off with a man who's in my team. I transferred him this week. It's Pablo Forlan. Now, 1.4% owned. He is 6.4 million and he's already got 40 points this season. He's got, I believe, 2 goals and 3 assists already in the games that he's had. He's matched his total for goals on last season and he's already halfway there to his total of assists from last season. He's a really good option to have, especially with the 3 fixtures he's got coming up. He's got Fulham at home, Sheffield United away and Aston Villa at home. Fulham at home, I think it guarantees some sort of goals. So I'm pretty confident he's going to get a return. At the ownership that he's at and the price that he's at, it's literally like a low risk, high reward strategy. He's a punt, and if he doesn't work out, easily switch to Diogo Jota. So it's one what I'm looking at to do potentially, and it's a transfer and a differential that I'm actually really happy with, and I think he could get a few points this week.
Yeah, definitely. The West Ham fixtures currently, I think for the next 3 weeks, look really tasty. West Ham are in good form. It's the one. There's so many players in that like attacking 3 you could choose from. Obviously, they've signed Ben Rama. He's yet to come in. He would probably be my pick if he was playing like for full 90. Jared Bowen. A lot of people on our TikTok have said they're going with him instead. Again, he's good on set pieces as well, but I think the reason I would go personally with Fernandes is because he plays central. When we saw against Liverpool, like he creeps into the box, doesn't he? Like to support Haller. So good pick for me. I'm going different. I'm going with Shea Adams. Southampton, if they're going to score, it's going to have to come from probably him or James Ward-Prowse. So he's looked good. He scored only 2 less points than Timo Werner this season. And for someone who everyone's been pretty much writing off, he's at 5.8 million. Like,
that's cheap.
Exactly. And he's only owned by, let me just see, 2.9%. Same amount of points as Ollie Watkins, more than Antonio, 1 less than Jimenez. Those sort of numbers are really good. And for the price, like I was saying with Bamford, there clearly is probably a better striker than Bamford at that range.
It's crazy cheap, and for that differential, now Ings is out. Surely that's the option to go for, and if you want an attacker in that Southampton team.
Yeah, the main issue though with that, there is obviously always probably an issue to a differential, is whether Southampton are going to be able to create these chances now Danny Ings is not playing, as he obviously takes a lot of the spotlight when defending. So it'll be interesting to see how they play against Newcastle, and maybe...
that's a risk that you're going to have to take if you want to get him in your team.
Exactly.
That wraps it up for another FPL Fridays. Unfortunately no guest, but we will have one next week. We're working on the logistics of it all and we're really excited to show you who we've got on next week. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, cracking episode next week. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode, a little bit different, more FPL based, and I hope you do enjoy it.
Yeah, so as always, like, comment, subscribe, follow the TikTok, follow the Twitter, all of that good stuff. I've been Ben.
I've been Josh.
And we'll see you
later.